Bob, I have to start with the news that Donald Trump made last night, that he wouldn't commit to accepting the results of the election. Is that not the moment that General Mattis and Dan Coats talked about? And do you hear from them any plans to do what they described doing in your book, Speaking Out?
Well, I mean, they're speaking out. I'm quoting them accurately. No one has disputed anything in the book, including President Trump. In fact, last week Trump said, I said some great things in the book. If I may, Nicolle, I think we're getting off on the wrong track sometimes when we talk about, Trump is breaking norms. This is not normal. Trump was elected in 2016 to not just break norms, but to smash them. It's as if you're going along the road driving and it's a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit and somebody goes 80, and that's not normal. That's breaking norms. Look, let's face it, Trump is going 150 miles an hour. And what is happening here on all fronts, dealing with the virus, dealing with the economy, dealing with race relations. It's not that he's breaking norms. My view, my conclusion is, and I asked President Trump about this once. I said, what's the job of the president? And he said, the job of the president is to protect the people. And protecting the people includes protecting our democracy, our democratic institutions, the core of voting. The second responsibility I think that the president has is to tell the truth and to do it as unambiguously as he can. He has not told the truth about things, and he's got some crazy idea, which he told me about in March, where he said, I play down the virus because I don't want to create a panic. Well, one of the things we find in history, I've written about 9 presidents, tried to study history some, is that when presidents come out and tell the truth to the country, Americans rally around and solve the problem. So we've got not just breaking norms, we have a president who has forsaken his basic duty to protect the country, tell the truth, and organize and plan, have some theory of the case. What is he going to do as president? And time again, we know, and I've got endless examples of this, of him making decisions on impulse, tweeting, driving people crazy who work for him, and then they leave or he fires them by tweet, and he says the cruelest things. I mean, the idea that somebody you've brought from retirement like Mattis and Tillerson, Director of National Intelligence, Dan Coats, and then treat them that way is not just shocking. I think the president, in all of the things he is doing here, is forsaken a larger duty, which is a moral duty, to do what's best for the country, and that this is a moral failure and a leadership failure. And this idea about the election, he's predicting and almost wishing for a quadruple train wreck on November 3rd.
I could not agree with you more that all of the hand-wringing about the obliteration of norms is misplaced. But this statement yesterday is about obliterating the Constitution. And I guess if I could just follow up narrowly on that question. I mean, Rod Rosenstein was reported to have whipped votes for the 25th Amendment. You've got Mattis, and you're right, no one has challenged what Mattis and Coats have said. And I've actually, since your book came out, heard that is absolutely how they felt for a very long time. But I wonder if it escalates things when it's not just the obliteration of norms, but challenging the Constitution by saying he would not accept the results of an election that might bring some of these people out in a more public confrontation with Donald Trump.
Yes, I mean, it's not just challenging the Constitution, it is putting a dagger in the Constitution. And for the President of the United States to do that is, I don't know whether there's language to describe this. And what's happened is that Trump has been like this from the beginning, before he was elected president, just saying outrageous things, doing outrageous things, and he's made the country and the world numb about, oh, well, that's the way it is. Oh, 1,000 people died today because of the virus. Well, it isn't 2,000 like it was before, so things are getting better. Things are getting worse, and I don't know where the wake-up call comes to the country. And this isn't about Trump voters or Biden voters. It's, this idea that some of our colleagues, Nicolle, scorn Trump voters, and they say, oh, you aren't a decent person if you believe in Trump. That's just not the case. I know Trump voters who are financial planners, who are business people, who are military people, who are law enforcement officers, who are workers, and they are decent people. We may disagree or agree with them, and this idea that somehow we're setting ourselves up in the media or in the Democratic Party, hey, there's only one way to look at it, and it's our way. That doesn't sell with people, because they sit and say, wait a minute. And Jared Kushner has, and I quote this in my book, Kushner's theory, and he's the son-in-law of President Trump, married to Ivanka, a senior advisor. Really, I think your experts would agree with this, who know the Trump White House. Jared Kushner's the White House chief of staff for all practical means.
And the campaign manager.
Kushner lays out.
Yes.
Pardon? And Kushner lays out.
And the campaign manager, yes.
Yeah, and the campaign manager and somebody who sees Trump every day, and we're now on the fourth White House chief of staff. Kushner's theory here is astonishing, and it should be understood. And I quote him saying, controversy elevates message. In other words, if you have a controversy and it's basically your issue, and he cites the economy, Trump will say it's the best economy in the history of the world going back to the Roman Empire, and then fact checkers will come along and say, oh, wait a minute, it was better in 1951 or something like that. And the average person looks at this, Kushner's theory, and I think there's a lot of truth in this. They say, well, wait a minute, we're fighting about how good the economy. Now, this is before the virus and before the economic collapse that we've experienced. And the average person says, well, no, hey, look, the economy's pretty good. Why are we having a fight about that? As far as Kushner and his very cynical way, we win that argument by having a controversy. The Supreme Court is another example of this.
Yeah.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.